Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2026. Jeremy here, and this is the first podcast of the year. We're trying something a little different on this one. We're doing it solo, so I hope you enjoy. As we come into the new year, it's a great time to pause and reflect and really zoom out and ask, how do I want to show up this year as a leader, as a teammate, and just as a human being? So every January, we set goals with the greatest intentions, but the real change isn't about the intensity, it's about the intentionality, and it's about building habits that are sustainable and not fleeting. So we've been living in this low hire, low fire environment, and what that means is companies are holding on to employees. They're not moving them in and out as much as they have in the past. And they're also not hiring new people as well. Employees aren't voluntarily moving on to new jobs. And so that's created a lot of stagnation in the market. And with that has come stress and really heavy burnout. But there's an opportunity here. And 2026 and the start of a new year can really be the foundation for that and the foundation for this pivot. And that pivot is going from this burnout feeling to really having a breakthrough year. So now is a great time to really analyze that and what that means to each of us. So over the past few months, I've really taken inventory myself. What fuels me, what drains me, and how I want to show up this year. Before routines, leadership, or technology, I want to start with gratitude. And gratitude's a new practice for me. I really only started it about 6 months ago, but the impact was really immediate. When I pause long enough to name what I'm grateful for, very specifically, everything shifts. My mindset opens up, my energy becomes lighter, and I just show up differently. And gratitude helps me move past those small frustrations that we all come across. And it helps me keep solutions-oriented in a solutions-oriented mindset. And the science is clear. Our brains rewire itself based on repetition. And that's called neuroplasticity. And gratitude strengthens the pathway and brings on clarity and resilience. When I practice gratitude, it helps me appreciate the basics. Waking up, my health, family, doing meaningful work, opportunities that other people would only dream of. So ask yourself, what are 3 things you're grateful for right now? And what do you want to carry into 2026? Once I started practicing gratitude, it shaped how I begin and end each day. So let me show you what that rhythm looks like. So my morning starts with gratitude spoken out loud. I always start with, there are so many things that I'm grateful for. I woke up today, the sun is shining, I have my family, I have my health, I feel good, I feel strong, I love the work that I do, I love the job that I have. And then I talk about really opening myself up to the opportunities that are in front of me and also being ready for the challenges that may come my way. And then I typically end that with a moment of prayer. I pray for people that I know are in need. I pray for my family. And I pray for things that are happening around us. I pray for unity and peace. And that really helps round out the gratitude that I practice in the morning and gets me ready for the day. And then I end that gratitude practice with, how do I want to show up today? That's the one key question that I leave with. And I think about that usually as I'm on my drive to work or before my next meeting. And just getting in that frame of mind of asking that question, that helps me show up intentionally, helps me show up ready to have good interactions, to have great conversations, to leave a positive influence on somebody. And as important it is to start my day with gratitude, it's also very important to end the day in a similar fashion. So at night, I try to slow everything down. I end the day reflecting on the great things that happen. And oftentimes it's very similar to what I started the day with. I had I woke up today. I feel healthy. I have my family. I had great experiences throughout the day. Overcame challenges and obstacles. And then I start to reflect on what do I need to do to get a good night's sleep? And that's usually coming in with some prayer and asking for peace, asking for a good night's sleep, and asking to help me be ready for the next day. So what this all means for me is that morning sets the tone, evening locks it in, and together they create this alignment. And what's powerful is how these practices not only show up in your personal life, but also in your professional life and in your workplace, because your internal alignment becomes your external leadership, and that's extremely important. When I start the day aligned, I just lead differently. Clearer thinking, calmer energy, and way more constructive conversations. Gratitude helps me notice effort. It helps me acknowledge progress and helps me lead with empathy. So as we step into 2026, 3 resets matter. Reset routines, reset expectations, and reconnect with the purpose. And these all map directly to our values at Horizontal: collaboration, integrity, positive energy, greater good, and healthy hustle. And when I mean healthy hustle, when I say healthy hustle, that doesn't mean like work yourself to the bones. That means operating with a sense of urgency and getting tasks completed so you can move them off your plate and move on to the next one. But mindset isn't just about moments. It's shaped by the patterns that our brain runs off of every day. It's our internal algorithm. When I think about my internal algorithm, it's really all the inputs that are coming in over the course of a day. That's the conversations, it's the news we watch, it's the social media feeds that we have. It's all of that really feeds in. Those are our inputs. They shape our patterns, which shape our reactions, and it shapes our leadership. And speaking of these inputs that feed my algorithm, there was a time last year where I started slipping down into these really political rabbit holes or even non-political rabbit holes. You get online and it could be basic things like a chat, or you're following a post and you go in and view the comments and it just kind of sucks you in. And I found that throughout the course of last year that it really started to consume me. It started to consume my brain, started to consume my thoughts over the course of the day, even as I was going to bed and dreaming about those things. And so really I made a change in the middle of last year, and I made a commitment to only consuming positive content and only putting out positive content. And that's a really hard thing to do in an era that we are surrounded by all this social media and media in general, to try to find non-biased reporting, to try to find things that aren't negative. It's really hard to do, but if you set out to accomplish that, I think you can certainly do that. And it also helps when you're only putting out positive content. You're avoiding getting into things that could be confrontational with somebody else, highly political, what have you. And when I did that last year, it really made a big change with my lifestyle, how I was feeling, probably how people were feeling about their interactions with me. And it was a major change that I made last year. And another big input, and one that we don't talk about enough, is your physical health. And my health journey over the last few years has really shaped how I show up. That can come in a lot of different shapes and forms. For me, it really started with understanding what's happening. And so I got an Aura ring a couple years ago, and I started tracking my sleep, my recovery, and my movement. And, having that data is really a good foundation for understanding what's happening. So then you can take steps to make improvements. And the first area is sleep. And I view sleep as the lead domino in your overall healthy lifestyle. And when sleep is strong, everything is lighter. You have the ability to cope better. You can work through more challenging situations. But when sleep is off, everything is heavier, and you probably struggle to make decisions. You probably struggle to think clearly. And so, starting out with a great night's sleep is definitely a priority. And the next one is nutrition. And nutrition, I think, is something that in our society, we have to work hard for it to be good for us. I think there's a lot of new science around nutrition and just the diets that we have access to, and a lot of them are generally lacking in some of the core nutrients that we need. So I've gone down the path of really trying to understand what my diet is and where it could be lacking, and bringing in supplements in order to balance that out. So you have sleep, you get a good night's sleep. Now you're filling your body with the fuel and nutrition that it needs. You got two of the three pillars starting to come together. All right, and the third one really is movement. And there's a guy that I follow, Mike Holland's his name. You can find him on Instagram. So I'm not going to steal what he says, but I love it. It's movement is medicine. And, I really subscribe to that theory. So I track my steps, I track my movement, and I make sure that I have a baseline that I'm setting out to achieve, but I'm always looking to go above and beyond that. 10,000 steps a day minimum is something that I shoot for. Lifting three to 4 to 5 times a week is also very important. And also getting out in nature. I try to get some morning sunlight every day. It's not always possible, obviously, with the cloudy days, but whenever it is, I try to get out there. Grounding is something that's new for me. It feels a little gimmicky, but, taking the shoes off, going outside, standing in the grass, sun on your face. If you did that for 10 minutes every morning, I guarantee you that would really change how you feel and how your body is able to perform. And, these things, I don't view them as luxuries. These are really, if you want to perform at the highest level, if you want to lead at the highest level, you have to take care of your physical self. And these things are all key components to that. So when my body is healthy, when it is aligned, my mind follows, stress and anxiety shrinks and falls away, clarity sharpens, and really leadership and the interactions that you have feel a lot lighter. So we can't go a full podcast without talking about AI. AI is everywhere, and there's all different kind of takes on what that means for us as people, as businesses. And, I'm definitely in the glass half full realm with AI. I think there's a unique opportunity, and it was one of my projections or prognostications for the year, is that AI is going to help companies focus and improve on the health and wellness of its employees. So how could that happen? If you think about a team member's health, one of the biggest key indicators is, how they like their job. Are they feeling challenged? Do they feel recognized? And with AI, for the first time really ever, we have the ability to look at all the mundane, all the lower value, all the tasks that people generally probably are not excited about, but just do as a course of it's my job, I have to do it. We can find ways with AI to automate those things, to bring in new technology to take that on, so that they can elevate up into much more rewarding work, much more challenging work. And that is really my hope with AI, and that's something that we're doing here at Horizontal. Is we're looking at group by group and having roundtables and asking people, what do you love about your job, and what do you least like about it, and taking those areas that they're not excited about doing and finding ways to do those through technology. So if you look at it from that perspective, companies have the opportunity to create a much more challenging, much more rewarding experience for their team members. And that's something that we're committed to here at Horizontal. I think AI benefiting everyone, including leaders, is a real opportunity. Personally, for me, I use AI in a lot of ways, and I use it for some of those more mundane tasks that I've talked about, analyzing data, doing research, exploring scenarios, to way more strategic things like using AI as a thought partner, where I have an idea, or we have an idea, or we have a challenge and we haven't been able to figure out. With AI, it gives you a whole set of outside experiences and data to be able to leverage and pull into your decision-making process. And it really ultimately ends up saving you a lot of time. But more importantly, it really improves the quality of the output that you're putting out there. And if you can, get things done faster, move things along quicker, that helps you to continue to elevate whatever you're doing within the company, elevate your role within the company, and bring more value, which ultimately brings more satisfaction. And that's ultimately, I think, what every employee is looking for. At the end of the day, when they go home, did they have a good day? Did they add value? Did they feel like they were recognized for that? And AI is really going to be a game changer for companies to be able to use in those ways. And tying AI back to my health journey, we got to connect the two there. I've used it in different ways. Certainly look at plugging in the workouts that I'm doing, plugging in all of my health metrics into AI to help me look for ways to optimize my health, look for any concern points. I think now we're able to take our blood test results and put it into AI and have it analyze and come back with suggestions around what we can do to improve those. I've even taken a list of all my supplements and put it into AI and said, help me determine the right times to take these and what I should be taking with and which ones work together and complement each other. And so there's a lot of ways where we can start now pulling AI into our health journeys and really help produce much better outcomes. So I really believe that AI ultimately does strengthen humanity. And I know that for myself, when I'm not buried in the transactional, I can show up with more empathy, I can be more present, and I just generally have more creativity. And so I'll restate that. I believe AI strengthens humanity. It doesn't replace it. And so we need to do our best to leverage what AI is great for, but also still recognize what we need people for, where people thrive, and elevate them up into those roles that can take advantage of that. With that, let me close with one reflection for the year. Before the craziness of 2026 sweeps you away and you get sucked into that, just pause, reconnect with what matters. Remember those inputs shape your patterns, the patterns shape your leadership, and the leadership shapes your team. So here's my challenge to you. What's one mindset shift or daily habit that you want to carry into 2026? Something that supports your well-being, your clarity, your health, your leadership. Just start there. Let it take root. Let it compound. Just remember, better inputs equal better patterns equal better leadership, and better leadership equals stronger, healthier teams. And when you have healthy teams, that is going to be the team that outperforms the non-healthy teams 100% of the time. Thank you for listening. I'm grateful for you. Let's make 2026 a year of alignment, intention, and breakthrough. I'm Jeremy Langevin. Thank you for listening to LaunchPoint.